Alright, I'm pretty sure. Let me just get my mic sorted out. Alright, 1 second, guys. You guys can hear me, yeah? Let me know. Check to see if I'm live. Yeah, we're live. I think this chat's working, right? Wait, chuck something in the chat, guys. That would be great. Just so I can see if it's actually functioning properly or no. Yeah, all good. Alright, sweet. Hello, Wolfpack. What's going on? I haven't done a live stream in a long time. It's been a while, hey. Yeah, it's been... I think the last time we did a live stream would have been all the way back in May. I think we did a live stream when we were up here at 48k. I remember at 48k I was telling everyone, oh, it's a bull trap, guys. No one really believed me back there. Because I mean, you know, why not? It was pretty convincing. It was a pretty convincing bull trap. But at the end of the day, you know, when you stick by the TA and you stick by the structures and you don't fall for your own bias, you know, at the end of the day, what was that? Well, it was an ascending channel formation, wasn't it? I mean, you can't really draw it that well on a weekly chart, but it was an ascending channel formation, a bear flag formation, could be seen as an ascending wedge on the weekly. We broke to the downside. Very simple stuff. People really, let's just get straight into it. People really like to overcomplicate things in crypto, right? You know, they say things like, oh, you know, what about the gap on the, you know, weekly chart, CME gaps? What about this certain insert event that's happening that probably would cause price action? Like the new thing we've been talking about recently, or a lot of people have been talking about, is the Mt. Gox exchange. They, you know, obviously exchange got hacked, shut down. Everyone lost their money essentially on the exchange. And now they're releasing, I think in September, late September, they're releasing a lot of the Bitcoin that, you know, they lost, that people on the exchange lost back. They're refunding it, right? And it's, I think it's 164,000 Bitcoin. They're releasing it back to the wallets, and people are saying, well, that's going to cause a massive crash, right? Because, you know, everyone who receives the Bitcoin is obviously going to sell it, because back then in like 2013, that Bitcoin was worth a lot less than it is now. So why wouldn't they sell? It's like an instant 100 or 200x or something. I don't know. And so, yeah, people think it's going to be a big crash, but in reality, you know, 165,000 Bitcoin is only 1% of the exchange, of the supply of Bitcoin. So even if every single person sold, and that's assuming they all get it at the same time, which is not going to happen, right? Even if every single person sold at the same time, it really wouldn't be, yeah, you'd probably see some sort of snowball effect, and there'd be some sort of, you know, chain reaction of selling, but it wouldn't be as catastrophic as people are making it out to be. So yeah, just keep in mind, people like to over-exaggerate stuff all the time. Just trust the charts. You know, I think that's the main thing. How's my volume looking? Looks okay. What do we got here? Bunch of hellos. What's going on, guys? Santo, Chaos, what's going on? Good morning from Melbourne. 1:30 a.m. here. Where are you? You in, that would be Europe? I don't know. I know it's about 10 or 11 in the US right now, so... What are some good ways to time the market reversal in your opinions? Personally, I'm watching when the instantaneous trend line turns green on the 3 and 5 day, along with confluence from support and resistance. So, market reversal, pretty simple stuff, right? So, it's simple. It's simple if you make it simple. You can overcomplicate it if you want. People love to overcomplicate it, as I just made this whole rant about overcomplication. But the way I see a market reversal is it's based on this specific time period you're looking at in the charts, right? So, you know, if you're looking at typical forms of market reversal, what you'd actually be looking at is something like the pi cycle indicator, right? And we know about this. We've studied this quite a bit. I'll just get some water. I'll look at it right now in a second. But the pi cycle indicator is something that analysts have typically used to mark the bottom and the top. So, sorry, not feeling too good. Just had COVID recently, so did Mega Whale. Crypto Crew University, big YouTuber, right? I think he's got, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. kind of one of those guys who very, very popular. He's not a bad analyst. He's not as bad as, a lot of people like Bitcoin, crypto, whatever. But he's using price cycle indicator. And the reason he's doing that is because historically speaking, right, this thing has marked the top quite well and marked the bottom quite well. You can see that if you kind of just ignore all these lines here, just look at price cycle high and price cycle low. It marked the top in 2013, marked the top in 2017, and marked the bottom in 2015, and then marked the bottom in 2018. It actually didn't really mark the top in 2021. I know there's a lot of debate in 2021 about where the top actually was, whether, the November top was a fake top or something. I don't think it was. But a lot of that is actually based off the price cycle. And so it failed to mark the top in 2021. And that was the first kind of indication that this thing wasn't going to work. And now it's marking the bottom here in 2022, in July 2022, which obviously, as you know, as subscribers of the channel, might not be as likely as people think it is. So I think that the problem with something like the price cycle indicator, which is, again, I'll get back to your question, a typical method of predicting a trend reversal point and the bottom point, is that it's literally created, it's been programmed specifically to mark the bottoms and tops in regular market times. This is not a regular market time, right? We're in a macroeconomic recession. You guys know that. I don't need to tell you. That's the problem with it. So this whole indicator hasn't been around forever. Okay, so it's only been around for I don't know how long, but it hasn't been around forever, right? Maybe since the last cycle, I don't know. The whole reason it was created was to mark the bottoms and tops in regular macroeconomic environments and regular market corrections. This is not a regular market correction, and hence it's probably going to fail to mark the top and the bottom. That's just what it is. Now, it is interesting, however, that it has decided to put the price cycle low right on top of this yellow macro support line. That's interesting, because that gives it some validity. Even though, it doesn't necessarily seem too valid, that does give it some weight. And so for that reason, and for the reason of the fact that, this macro uptrending line has been retested on multiple occasions and that it's being retested for support right now, we do have to consider the fact that there is a potential chance that this is the bottom on Bitcoin. We do have to consider it. If we have to consider it, doesn't mean we have to agree with it. And with that said, well, it's like, you wouldn't buy something you think might be the bottom. You'd buy the trend reversal, so you have confirmation that it was the bottom. And the trend reversal, in my opinion, would come from a break above the 200-week SMA, and maybe, I'd like to say maybe 2 weekly candles above it. Why that? Why 2 weekly candles? Because like, if you flip it around, we've closed a weekly candle below the 200-week before. Right, we've closed a weekly candle just below it before a couple of times in history, and it didn't necessarily mean we lost it and broke to the downside. For the same reason, if we close one candle above it, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to break it to the upside, right? So we need to see 2 weekly candles above the 200-week SMA. By that point, we'd be buying at like the mid 20K region. And that's assuming the bottom is in on this macro uptrending line as per the price cycle theory. So yeah, that's how I would predict a trend reversal. I think breaking the 200-week SMA confidently would be the trend reversal on Bitcoin. And that would be your time to buy as of right now. Now, that might change. If we drop below the macro line, for example, we drop below it and we go down, at that point, we'd have to reconsider. But that's the scenario right now. Morning, mate, from Perth, Switzerland. Yeah, right. Yeah, Europe. I was correct. 7:30 a.m. in Malaysia. Melbourne is in Australia. Yeah, I'm aware. I know. I was talking about old mate who said, Lupo said it's 1:30 a.m. Good morning from India, Jersey, England, California, New York, Eastern US. Big fan. Where do you see Bitcoin in 10 years? Most bullish opinion from Denmark. 10 years is way too long to even have a slight indication of where it's going to be, but I can tell you an extrapolation of the 4-year cycle theory. I've done some data on the extrapolating the 4-year cycle before. Some of you guys might have seen this. We can get into that quickly. And that will give you an indication of where Bitcoin might be in 2026, which is 4 years away. That might be interesting. So just briefly, 4-year cycle. You guys know, date range trend on Bitcoin. Okay, so it's triggered by the halving. Every 4 years there's a halving on Bitcoin. Mining rewards get cut. It's triggered a cycle. It's not hard to believe that triggers a cycle, right? A lot of people tell me things like, well, what's the difference between you saying that the pi cycle theory, the pi cycle indicator is wrong now because it's not a normal market time, but then using the 4-year cycle as you would have in a normal market time? It's like, well, the pi cycle indicator is nothing. It's just maths. It's based on nothing. It's got no fundamentals behind it. The 4-year cycle is based on the halving. It's an actual event that occurs, right? The pi cycle is just, it's random. It doesn't even need to exist. Someone just made it up. So this is an actual event that occurs. Creates a 4-year cycle in which you have 1 year of bull market, 1 year of bear market. So I'm going to list this out for you guys. 1 year of bull market, 1 year of bear market, and then 2 years of sideways consolidation or slightly upwards. And then it starts off again with 1 year of bull market. And you can predict that that's going to continue until the end of time, provided that it remains valid. How would it remain valid? If we bottom out in Q4, it would remain valid. It's not based on prices, it's based on dates. And so with that said, your original question was, where's Bitcoin going to be in 10 years? Right? Well, since we have this kind of date range trend, if we're being generous, and it's a very, 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 shaky thing to do, but we're going to do it anyway. We've done it before. If we're being generous, we can predict that these are the date ranges for the next cycle, right? We can just extrapolate the data even further and say that, okay, the next bull market is going to top out in October 2025, as per the date range trend, and the next bear market is going to bottom out in October 2026, as per the date range trend. Those are the dates for the next bull market and next bear market, right? So October 2025 top, October 2026 bottom, right? So get ready for 2025. It's going to be a hell of a time. And then if we're really pushing it, we can start to make some analysis with the price action historically and say that, I haven't looked at this in a while, but I'll try go over it to the best of my ability, and say that, if we bottom, just skipping some of the maths here, if we bottom at 18K, so if we've already bottomed out, because the bottom was 17.5K, let's just round it up to 18K. If we bottom at 18K, we will be at 46K at the 2024 halving, okay? And then if we bottom at 18K in this cycle, if we've bottomed already, we would be at 244K in October 2025, okay? And then if we bottom at 18K, we would be at 244K in October 2025. If we top at 244K in October 2025, we would bottom at 87K in October 2026 in the bear market, right? There's lots of shortcuts in kind of, there's lots of shortcuts there, but that's the trend right now. It gives you an indication, right? And then all you can say as well, based on the same formula that I used there, if we bottom at 13K in this cycle, so say we go down, we drop below the macro uptrending line. Let's get back to that chart. We drop below the macro uptrending line. We go down to that support box that we talk about quite a bit between 12 and 14K. Let's meet you in the middle. Let's say 13K. So say, for example, we bottom Q4 13K, which is what we kind of expect. We would be topping out, as per this formula, at 170K in October 2025. And we would be bottoming out, as per this formula, at 34K in October 2026. So that gives you an indication of where Bitcoin could be. Again, that's extremely rough. That's extremely rough. And that will change, but it's an indication, right? And it's better than nothing. And that's why I love the 4-year cycle theory so much, because you can make bold claims like this. Not a claim necessarily, observations. You can't do that with anything else. If you look at this macro uptrending line, for example, and you're like, all right, well, where could we be in the next bull market? Well, let's just assume we hold it, right? And we'll just, we'll be somewhere around here. It's like, it's not actually analysis. There's nothing analytic about that. You're just drawing a line. When you go in the 4-year cycle theory, you identify a date range trend. You identify there's a fundamental principle behind it, which is the halving. You identify that the price action generally does this at this period in time over and over again. It's a trend. It's a pattern. That's what charting is. That's what TA is. When you do that, you can extrapolate the trend and you can predict the future. We do not want Bitcoin to be bottomed out right now. We want Bitcoin to go down further. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. We don't want a bull market until 2025. We want to go sideways for years, right? It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. Why? Because predictability is the key to money. If you have predictability, everything is easy. There's no guessing. You just follow the trend. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I really like it. I really like the 4-year cycle theory. I really hope that it works. The short term in people, the short term kind of greed that people have, they want it. They want, let's just have a bull market right now. How good would that be? But, they're not thinking long term. Long term, you want things to be as predictable as possible so you can just print money for free because you're just following the trend. It's not even analysis at that point, right? So hopefully it works. Let me get back to where I was here. The main issue I have with the pi cycle bottom is that it is curve fit in 2019 after both bottoms occurred. I don't know what you mean. Let me check. 2019. Yeah, I don't know what you mean, unfortunately. Thanks, bro. Appreciate your insight as always. One of the smartest analysts on YouTube. Appreciate that. Mate, do you realize you're going to have 1 million subscribers eventually? Who cares, dude? You know, at the end of the day, I'm very pessimistic about the growth of this channel because I don't like to think of myself as a conventional kind of analyst. I'm not just going to sit here and bullshit 24/7. You know, I'm just going to show you what I genuinely think is going on. And I think that harnesses quite a bit of hate. But, you know, we'll see. I don't know. Ideally. But at the same time, who am I to sit here and tell you, oh, my analysis is way better than everyone else? It's just my opinion. So it's up to you guys, really. But I appreciate that. Appreciate the compliment. Hello from Sweden. Melbourne is in Australia. Better tell Dan Andrews that. How do you think alts will react while Ethereum is still going up and Bitcoin going sideways for a bit, mainly small cap altcoins? Yeah. So Ethereum, yeah, it's interesting. Ethereum's been pumping. And we talked about this in yesterday's video. I don't actually have, where's my actual Ethereum chart? That's not my Ethereum chart. Here we go. I'll go to my actual Ethereum chart. Yeah, so I don't do much charting on Ethereum, but I did do a lot of charting on it yesterday, and I deleted most of the charting and restarted it, made it as simple as possible, so you guys can look at it quite clearly in the video. Look at it now. The reason why it's going up, right? It's broken out of this structure. It had a ascending triangle formation, bullish structure. It broke to the upside. Bitcoin remained in its structure while Ethereum broke to the upside. That's the interesting part about it. And so you could say, well, why did it do that? Why did that happen? Because of the merge, right? There's an Ethereum merge happening. I think it's late September. I think I got it mixed up. Mt. Gox is late August, I think, and then the Ethereum merge is late September. I could be wrong. Maybe it's the other way around. But yeah, Ethereum merge is happening. Doesn't really matter what it is, right? Essentially, it's just people getting hyped about an event. Okay, yeah, and maybe it's a good event for the fundamentals of Ethereum, but generally speaking, events don't have any effect on price action. How do we know that? Well, we had the Bitcoin Taproot upgrade. Where did we have it? I think back here in December or late November, which was the first upgrade to the Bitcoin network. Significant upgrade, by the way. First upgrade to the Bitcoin network for like 4 years, and we literally just continued downwards. We literally just went downwards, right? Upgrades don't mean anything. They don't do anything to the price action. The only way an update does something to the price action is when the update is announced or if we're in a bull market and everyone's bullish, right? That's what it is. So we saw Ethereum have short-term bullish price action because the date of the merge was penciled in, right? So it was announced. The date of the merge was penciled in. It was announced. We had bullish price action. People bought the news, and now it's failing to sustain. It's quite simple stuff. Right, if you even look at the volume's going down. Each green candle you have, generally speaking, is lacking. That's not something you'd see when you have people very, very hyped, right? If you draw a line here from the start of the range to the bottom of the range, it's just downwards. It's descending volume. People are getting less and less excited. The price action's going up, of course, but it's unsustainable is the main point. And so, yeah, we've broken out and we've head straight into high resistance. We've gone straight into the $1,417 resistance on Ethereum, right, which is a vague resistance zone, but identified using the volume profile. And we're going to be heading, if we manage to break that, which is, you know, a question in itself, we're going to be heading straight into this downtrending resistance line and probably reject off that as well, right? So Ethereum's broken out because of news, because of hype, and Bitcoin has remained within its structure because there's no hype about Bitcoin right now. What does that tell us? It tells us that this Ethereum pump will most likely not sustain. That's just the trend. That's just what it is. Unfortunately, that's just what it is. Let me see if I have my total cryptocurrency market cap chart. Yeah, so if you look at the total cryptocurrency market cap, which is where you're including altcoins, like you said, you can see that this is all crypto, Bitcoin, altcoins, Ethereum. This thing is not broken out yet either. In fact, this thing has run into very, very tough resistance, and it's probably going to be rejecting. Yes, it's in an ascending triangle formation, but it's probably going to be rejecting downwards here. Due to that candle close, long wick to the upside, and red candle starting to form there. That will be closing in 10 minutes. That's bearish, right? And so, yeah, we can assume that Ethereum is probably done running, and if it's not done running, it's probably very close to being done running. And it didn't, this is the thing. It's not like we're seeing an altcoin season right now. Ethereum is the leader of the altcoins, so when Ethereum breaks out, generally speaking, altcoins break out. It's not like we've seen dramatic, massive breakouts on altcoins. It's only Ethereum, which means the hype has been exclusively directed to Ethereum because of the news around Ethereum. It's nothing to do with like market trends and money cycle flows in cryptocurrency. So yeah, I don't think it will be sustained, and I don't think it's going to positively affect altcoins purely because of the fact that I don't think hype can lead a sustainable rally unless you're Dogecoin, in which case you're just gambling. So yeah. BTC starting to dump at the close. What's the price? 20,800. Yeah, we're going to look at Bitcoin a bit in a second here. But yeah, still within the structure. If we zoom up to the short term, yeah, breaking down from a ascending channel or ascending wedge formation. So that's not good. We'll look at that in a second. Do you expect a fake rally this week? Fake out rally this week? Well, where can we go? I think that's the main thing, right? If you asked me without this macro chart, if you said, I wonder if, one second, just finding out where it is here. Here we go. That's the 4-year cycle chart. Let me get it back up. So the point is, where can we go, right? Because we have nowhere to go. We're getting clamped. So when people say, oh, would you think we're going to see a fake out rally, right? Do you think we're going to see a dead cat bounce? I think we're already in a dead cat bounce in a certain sense. I think people get desensitized to price action when we're in these low numbers, right? If you zoom out and you go to where we bottomed out, 17.5K, right? How far are we up from there? We're 20% up. We went up 27% from 17.5K. Just because the number's lower, right? People think the percentage is lower. 17.5K jump to 22.3K jump. That's a big jump. That's a dead cat bounce, 30%, right? So I think, yeah, we're in a dead cat bounce right now. Yeah, we're still ranging, but a 30% bounce, even within a range, is a dead cat bounce. I think we're seeing it right now. Now, could we go higher? We could, but like at some point you have to consider the fact that the highest we can probably go, realistically, we could wick above it. That's possible. But realistically, the highest we could actually go on a weekly candle basis is probably the 200-week SMA, right? So 22.6K. So yeah, we can go higher. We can go to 22.6K. We can probably wick above it. We can probably go to 24K on a wick and then come back down and close below it. We could see a further bounce. But generally speaking, we've got no room to move at this point. We're getting compressed very, very tightly. Right, we're in this small little range and it's compressing faster and faster. Eventually it's going to come to a point where we're going to have to make a move. We have to decide where we're going to go, up or down. I want to try and bring up that chart that I had before. There it is. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the main thing right now. Everyone's kind of, dead cat bounce, I don't think everyone's like that, obviously, but a lot of people are thinking, well, Bitcoin's found support from now. Maybe we can get in now. Maybe it's a good time to get in. Well, you've already missed a 20% pump from the lows, right? So it's not like you're in a good time to get in. And the fact of the matter is we're in a bearish pennant formation. Okay, bearish pennant formation here. Long wick drop into the formation, entered it, consolidation. That's bearish pennant. It's actually a bearish structure. If you're trusting TA, if you're trusting data rather than emotions, there's zero reason at all why you should be bullish in the short term. Zero reason. Right, we're heading into the strongest resistance zone Bitcoin has ever faced. How do I know that? Because it was the strongest support zone Bitcoin ever had. Right, flip it around, same thing. Right, 16 months of constant retests, only saw one candle close below it besides 2022. Right, we're heading into that right now, 22.6K. Where's the room for dead cat bounce? There's no room. There's no room for it. We could see a wick, as I said, but generally speaking, there's no room. We're seeing bearish formations form within these structures constantly. That's a bearish channel a bearish wedge formation, broken to the downside. Take a measured move from a wedge, first retest to the top, first retest to the bottom, apply it to the breakout zone. We're going to be targeting 19.6K, which is our nearest actual support zone, which was the 2017 all-time high. Got a donation. Thank you so much for the content. Just getting interested in crypto and your analysis has helped me so much. Glad to hear it, man. Thanks for the donation. Glad to hear it. That's what it's all about, eh? I mean, I do all this analysis anyway. That's the thing that I want people to understand. It's not like I'm sitting here, I'm doing it just for you guys. I suppose I'm making the videos for you guys, but I do all this analysis anyway. And that's why I started a channel, because, why just do it by yourself when you can... It's just that... It sounds really, really cringy to say, but it's just that it's like a businessman mindset. It's like, well, I'm already doing the work, so I may as well turn it into a business. So it's not like I'm some saint who's giving you free. Like, I do this anyway. I'm not doing it just for you. But I appreciate it though. I'm glad I can help some people out. Hopefully. Do you expect a fake out rally? This, well, I already answered that. I want Bitcoin to get to 11K, and it might do that, you know. It might do that. Horizontal support at 11.5K to 13.5K. Go to the, what is it called? The volume profile here, visible range volume profile. And if we zoom up and look at this price action here, we can see that, you know, it really does start picking up. I'm going to explain this in a second. It really does start picking up at 11K actually, which is interesting because that's what you said. So visible range volume profile. So basically everything you can see on the screen right now, the volume profile, which is on the side there, that's the volume profile. It's tracking the historical trading volume in those regions. And it works out to basically say, if you're below the spikes on the volume profile, it's going to act as resistance. And if you're above it, those big mountains are going to act as support, right? So right now what we can see is that there's no real, you know, and it's all adjusted based on the market cap, etc. Of course, there's no real historical massive piece of volume on Bitcoin until we reach, and there's no crevice until we reach like 12.5K. And so if we were to drop below this macro uptrending line, we have the next horizontal support at like 13.8K, but there's no real massive place where it's going to get very, very, very hard to go below that, you know, other than 12.5K. So if we drop below that, as per the volume profile, realistically, if we drop below 18.5K, wherever the line is, realistically, as per TA, the next logical target would be 12.5K. But given the fact that TA is not as clean cut as that, I'm just going to say between 14K and 12K, right? Because that's where we see the historical range, right? So 12 to 14K looks logical if we drop below that line. That's a very important, you know, kind of distinction. If we drop below that line. If. It's not guaranteed. I'm a breakout trader. You know, a lot of people expect me to just make predictions constantly. It's like, I think, if I had to guess, I would think it's going to go down and drop below that line. But I'm not making decisions now. I'm not putting in my shorts, you know. I'll short when it drops below the line. You know, there's no point doing it now. Why would I do that? I'd wait for confirmation. I'm not just going to gamble, sit here and pray every night that please drop below the line. You know, that's ridiculous. That's not trading, that's gambling, right? Trading, you wait for something to happen, you react as soon as physically possible, and you react in a scenario in which there's going to be a good risk-reward ratio. It's all about reacting, right? So if it drops below the line, cool, I'll short, right? And if it breaks above the line, breaks above 200-week SMA, then I'll long, you know? Not long, but I'll buy, you know? So it's all about confirmation, and that's something people really need to understand. Now, where is somewhere that Bitcoin could bottom? You know, and this is something worth considering, right? The 300-week SMA is also something of quite significant importance. That's currently at what, like 16.8K, right? It is actually a possibility that Bitcoin goes down to the 300-week SMA, drops below the macro uptrending line, drops down to the 300-week SMA, bounces back above the macro uptrending line, fakes everyone out because everyone thought it was going to 12K, and then continues to bull market. We don't know this stuff. You know, we just have to react when it happens. Very, very hard. It's very, very hard to predict, especially right now, because we're in a time in which nothing like this has ever happened before. We're in unknown territory. And I think I'm relying a lot on the date ranges. I'm relying a lot on the 4-year cycle theory, because it's the only thing that I can sit here and confidently predict. I can say it pretty confidently, right? I you know, 80% chance, in my opinion, pretty damn confident that Bitcoin will bottom out in Q4. I cannot say the same thing about any one specific price target. I can't. I just can't do it. What do you think about quant? Yeah, we can look at altcoins in a second. I just want to get through some of these questions here about Bitcoin, then we'll look at altcoins. That makes it too easy. Markets don't work like that. I don't know what you're referring to. I know, but it comes down with you, Wolf. You relate to people way more. You sound like a New Zealander that moved to Australia. Yeah, a lot of people say that because I'm actually originally from South Africa. So, and South African accents are generally... I don't have a South African accent, by the way. But, you know, family members and stuff like that, they very much do. And so a lot of people say South African accents sound a lot like New Zealander accents, especially people from Australia because they're more familiar with New Zealanders. So that's probably what you're picking up on there. It's very light, though. I know that. It's not very strong. One second. Let me just check what's going on here. I think I've deleted my live stream tab. So I'll just go back to the... I probably shouldn't do that. I'll probably leak something. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry. Chuck in some questions you have, by the way. Any questions? Happy to answer anything. I don't care. Anything about altcoins, whatever, Bitcoin, you know, the VIP, Crypto Academy course, literally anything. I'm just going to be doing this for 1 second here. Just getting a verification code. Yeah, I'll be. But by the way, the room with the black background, and I just set up the new setup there, new desk, whatever. They'll be back soon. I'm not exactly sure when. We're having some renovation work done, and so soon. I can say soon. Maybe weeks, a few weeks. So if you're worried about the bit of the Povo setup here, for lack of a better word, which someone called it the other day, which I thought was hilarious. It's just a room. I don't know what's so bad about it. That's what's going on there. Yeah, so I'm having some trouble here with the YouTube. I think I'm just gonna have to leave it alone. All good. All right, so yeah, I might have some problems here, but we'll work through it here. Okay, so let's go through some more questions. What do you think about buying in at 16,500 for a profit for a bounce? Yeah, again, that's actually interesting. You mentioned that price level. That's exactly where the 300-week SMA is. It's at 16.8. That's exactly where it is, 16.9. And so yeah, like realistically, if you were high risk, if you just wanted to buy in blind and just see what happened, you probably wouldn't be in the worst position ever to buy at the 300-week SMA. Ideally, what you do is you go to the short-term chart, go to the hourly chart or something, and while the drop was happening, you set some alerts to make sure you're awake while it happens. When you get there, if you see like a bullish candle close or whatever, like a reversal candle, some sort of pattern, candlestick patterns, which we teach in Crypto Academy, and you can find them online very easily as well. You'd buy in and you'd set your stop loss just below it, 2% risk. Try get a retest of the macro line. You're looking at like a risk of like 2%, whatever, drop below the line or a candle close below the line, and you're looking at a potential reward of like 10%. Obviously, that's a very, very quick analysis based on a chart that's not even loading properly. But that's pretty much how trading works in a certain sense. That's how bounce trading works. So there's different types of trading, right? So you've got confirmation breakout trading, which is what I do and what most people do because it's the most logical thing to do, right? And then you've got range trading, which is very difficult, very challenging, even for myself, because it's full of plenty of scams. But an example of range trading would be, so this is a range, right? This bearish pennant formation is a range. A confirmation trader would wait for a breakout of the range to enter a trade, which would be the smart thing to do. But someone who's a bit more impatient, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, they would wait for a structure within the range to break out. Like, for example, this ascending wedge formation. So we're still in the range, but the structure within the range is broken, and hence they're going to be trading the range. And so since we've broken out after a retest of the top or close to it, we're broken out of a structure, they'd be waiting for a retest of the downside, and they'd be shorting until we get there. That's a range trade, right? And then you've got blind trading, which is my name for it. And that's when you just kind of see a support zone, and you just see the price go into it, and you're like, okay, well, I hope it holds, and then you just buy, and you see what happens, right? It's not a bad thing to do in all scenarios. You just need to be very confident in the support zone. Lots of different ways to trade. Ethereum is pumping because Polygon signed a deal with Disney. I actually haven't heard about. That's probably part of it, but I doubt it because, well, let's see what Matic was doing. But I know that the main reason it was pumping is because of the merge. The merge was announced. The date of the merge was announced. Yeah, so obviously this Matic chart is quite outdated here. I haven't looked at Matic in a while, as you can see by this downtrending line from 2021. But yeah, we're heading straight into bull market support band, and we're on, based on my chart here that I haven't looked at in years, we're on resistance right now. In fact, we had a long wick above resistance. We came back down, we closed right on top of it, and we're probably going to maybe reject. I mean, it doesn't look like I can't say we're going to reject. I haven't looked at anything, but what I can say is that when you see something like that, long wick to the upside, back below support, our resistance, and close below it, it's not a good sign, right? So it's overexposed, overextended. It looks almost like some sort of inverted head and shoulders formation, a very rough one. But it's very, very messy, and I wouldn't trust it. And we're at the neckline right now. It doesn't look like the neckline's going to support us too well. So yeah, I mean, this just goes to show how good and how useful TA is, right? I probably did this analysis. I probably did this analysis in all honesty. Probably did it in like October 2021, based on the lines that I've drawn here. And even then, so even what is it? 9 months later, the lines that I drew are still holding up. We saw a retest of that line perfectly. We're seeing a retest of the top of the square perfectly. We saw a retest of this $1 support perfectly. It's great. It's great stuff. So what I would recommend if anyone is actually interested in getting into trading, this is my recommendation. Anyone who's actually genuinely interested, not just like a hobby, like they're genuinely interested in getting into trading. What you do, you go to CoinMarketCap or you go to your exchange. I recommend you using BitGet, right? BitGet's my favorite exchange. You guys know about that. I'll look at it in a second. You go to BitGet, go to CoinMarketCap. You chart every single coin you can find, or as much as you have the patience for. You chart them all. You chart every single coin. You save every single one of the charts. You add them all to your watch list. And every day or every few days, you go through your watch list and you check to see which coins are making interesting structures, and you trade based on that. You just need to get it out of the way. It doesn't take long. Once you learn how to chart, it takes 5 minutes to chart a coin. In fact, give me a coin. Give me a random coin, I'll chart it for you. Anyone, give me a coin. And I'll do it in a second. I'll read some comments and I'll do it. I'll chart any coin, never even looked at it. It's very, very simple stuff. Hi from Iraq, how you going? Wow, you're finally live. Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a long time. I wish I could see though. I can't even see how many people are watching or anything because my YouTube has completely closed down. Oh well, we're going in blind. Going in blind. Let's just check the stream quality is good. All good. Ethereum's going below 100. I highly, highly doubt that. No BSTA as always. That's how we do it. Do you trade small caps at a while the market is choppy? I don't trade. Well, it depends what you mean by small cap. But I generally speaking don't trade anything outside of a top 200. Right? That's generally speaking. And why is that? Well, mainly because they don't have anything outside of a top 200 on BitGet, generally speaking, and BitGet's my main exchange, so it's just for sake of simplicity. But also because crypto is volatile enough, right? In a bull market, I played around with microcaps. I made almost 6 figures on microcaps. Actually, microcaps, hilarious stuff. Once you realize how to analyze a microcap coin, you can't do it in a bear market, by the way. Everything's a scam. But in a bull market, and everything's a scam in a bull market as well. But once you realize how to identify whether something is a rug pull or not, as soon as you understand marketing, and as soon as you understand it's not a rug pull, they're not going to scam you, and you get in early, it's just free money, right? But again, very, very, very risky stuff. And you should not be trading microcaps. You can't even call it trading. It's literally gambling. You should not be doing it with any more than a very small percentage of your portfolio. Because I tell you right now, I've got rug pulled. Everyone's got rug pulled. Even the best analysts in the game, they get rug pulled. Especially on microcaps. It happens all the time. So just be careful. But do I trade small caps? Well, as I said, I don't trade anything below the top 200. Why? Because crypto's volatile enough. I don't need that. Especially if you're using leverage. You think about even Bitcoin, dude. Even Bitcoin, it went down in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. 7 days in 1 week. Bitcoin went down 30% in 1 week. Bitcoin, the biggest coin went down 30% in a week. That's insane. Add leverage to that. That's a 300%. 10x leverage, 300% in a week. And you think about Bitcoin's bigger than most coins in the top 200. They dropped altcoins dropped like 60% in a week when Bitcoin did this. And same thing happens in a bull market, right? Bitcoin in how many days here? In 1 day in the bull market. 1 day, it went up 22%. It's volatile enough. People get addicted to volatility in crypto. They really do. They get addicted to volatility. It's volatile enough. You don't need to trade small cap coins. And the fact of the matter is, the lower the market capitalization, the less trust you should have in the coin as well. Right? And especially if you've got a big portfolio, a big trading size, liquidity, all that stuff, it's going to stuff you over. And also, generally speaking, you do get massive rug pulls, but generally speaking, most rug pulls die out before they get to the top 300. So, there's that extra little clarity you've got there. And most coins in the top 200, they're not going to survive forever. But if they get there, generally speaking, it's because they have a product that people are interested in, right? So it's fundamentally sound to a certain extent. And you don't need to worry about it too much. Like when you're trading small cap coins, you're just constantly worrying about stuff. I remember in the bull market when I had micro caps, right? Obviously, I was trading a lot in the bull market. And I'm speaking like back here before the May drop. I think the May drop was a bit of a kind of wake up call to the micro cap kind of space. Before that, everything was just popping off 24/7. But once people learned, all the new people that got in early 2021 and late 2020, all the new people that got in who'd never experienced anything like a big drop, they saw that in May, bang. A couple weeks, 50% drop. Every coin got rugged. Altcoins are down 80%. they completely, by that point, they'd learnt their lesson. There was no micro caps over here. It was all over here. And you know, when you got micro cap coins, even though you only have like a few $100 in it, basically nothing on a larger scale, you know, you still got that worry. It's like, well, I don't know who owns this. I don't know what the product. I don't even know what the product is. All I know is that it's not a rug pull, maybe, and it's probably going to go up a bunch, or it might dump 90% overnight. Very stressful stuff. Not worth it. It's not trading. It's gambling. That's the main part. So yeah, never put a large percent of your portfolio in a microcap coin, because you are guaranteed to lose eventually. Even if you're a good analyst, you will lose eventually. You will get rugged. They'll find a way. Scammers are terrible people, but one thing they are is very creative. They'll find a way. Any opinions on exchanges being bankrupt? I don't have any opinions on that. I don't really have much to comment on that at all, actually. Thanks, Wolf. Really appreciate it. When are you going to post your videos on your other channel? Yeah, okay, so that's something I can bring up. Just give me a second, one sec. I'm wondering where my tabs keep going. They just keep closing automatically. All right, let me just bring this over here so I can get my other channel up and I can show you guys that quickly. So I created a second channel called Limitless. It's not about crypto. It's about, well, I'll show you, hey. I would play you the video, but I don't really think that's necessary at this point. So it's about philosophy, psychology, politics, history. Basically, it's typical of someone in crypto to say this kind of thing, but I'm convinced that most people go through their lives with, you know, massive amount of indoctrination from school, university, whatever the people they associate with. You know, you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And there's a lot of indoctrination in the world. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing either. And I encourage people to think freely. And I think as someone who's interested in cryptocurrency, most of you people guys would know that, you know, and would be interested as well. That's something we kind of stand for, you know, quote unquote stand for. Free thinking is very important. If you don't have free thinking, you're just going to end up in a totalitarian state, essentially. And so I'm making videos here. I'm still working on it behind the scenes. Had a bit of a dilemma with the temporary move out of the house there. And it's pushed me back a little bit. But I will be posting a video on this. I want to say within the next month. I do want to say within the next month. It's coming. I've had a bit, you know, script writing, long process, especially when you're looking at sources, you're reading books, you're doing heaps of studies. But I don't think I'm not going to say what my first video is going to be on yet, but it's going to be interesting. And I'm not going to be sitting here saying, you know, I'm not going to, just for clarity, I'm not going to be that guy who sits on YouTube all day and says, oh, you know, don't believe the government, don't believe this and that. That's all fake and everything's depressing and it's all nihilistic and nothing matters. You know, that's just depressing. I want to actually talk about things that people can genuinely change. So, you know, not just going to go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole, even though it's very easy to go down. Right? Speaking of conspiracy theories, they literally confirmed the other day. What's his name? Is it JFK? John F. Kennedy. Yeah, the guy who got assassinated in the USA. I'm not from America, so I'm not exactly brushed up entirely on the history. But in the 60s, I think 1968 or something, or maybe like 1970 something, right? Because it was after the moon landing, so it would have been post 1969. He got assassinated. We know this. There's literally been confirmed, 100% confirmed, that the CIA was directly involved. It's not a conspiracy theory, 100% confirmed, directly involved in the assassination of JFK, and no one's talking about it at all. People just forget. They just don't care anymore. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's insane. Can you look at Ethereum next cycle top? I don't have the sufficient data, and I don't think anyone does, on Ethereum to predict the next cycle top like I do on Bitcoin. Why? Ethereum hasn't been around as long as Bitcoin. That's the main reason. It's only seen like 2 cycles. And Ethereum has no one set event like Bitcoin does, where it has the halving that triggers the cycle. Also, Ethereum's not the most popular coin, and so that set event that it would have, hypothetically, wouldn't have much of an effect. Bitcoin leads the market. It's the most important. It will do whatever Bitcoin does in terms of date ranges, with about a month for error because of altcoin seasons. But as for price points, we can't tell. Too early to tell. We don't have enough data. Can you teach us an Aussie accent? No. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to make myself look like a fool. Do you use an indicator? Do you use any indicator for your normal day trading, MACD or squeeze momentum maybe? I use multiple indicators. And when we get a coin recommendation, so I see a few people saying KDA, all right? So I'm going to show you quickly what I do when I go over a coin. KDA, and I'll go back to some questions that I missed before. I don't know if I've looked at KDA, but maybe I have. Hasn't been, I'll just delete it straight away. I'll delete, oh, wow, okay. KDA is extremely new. Maybe give me a coin that has some historical price action, because that's a good lesson in itself, right? I have one line on KDA. Extremely new coins like KDA, okay? Generally speaking, when you have a new coin, you should be staying away from it because you don't have the historical data to back up what you're trying to put your faith in. Because when you do KDA, what you're doing is you're putting your faith in indicators, which are based on time, and you're putting your faith in support resistance lines, which are based on time. If you don't have much time, a coin hasn't been around for a long time, you don't have much confirmation of those support resistance zones being valid. So give me another coin and I'll do it. Litecoin. All right, I can do Litecoin. I'll do Litecoin. Binance. No, I already have analysis here for Litecoin, so let's delete all that. In fact, Litecoin was a VIP trade. It's broken out to the upside. And this is not the chart for it, though. This is the wrong chart. And we've seen a profit of like 10% so far. So if you want to be a VIP, you know, that was just random proof that it's worth it. But yeah, Litecoin. Okay, delete the whole chart. All right, so what do you start out with a coin? Okay, so one thing you want to start out with when you look at a coin, what you want to do is zoom out. Zoom out. First thing you want to do, zoom out, look at the entire price history of the coin. You know, I don't know anything about Litecoin right now. I can't even remember looking at it. Last time I looked at it was probably a couple of weeks ago when I posted in VIP. And by that point, I've done like 15 other trades, so I don't know. But zoom out, look what's going on. Well, what we saw on Litecoin, straight away you can see a massive pattern on Litecoin. What is it? It's a W. It's a massive W formation, right? But it's played out. It's played out, which means that the W formation is over. We saw the all-time high, it's done, and hence we're in a downwards trend, and that's confirmed by the current price action. Very simple stuff, right? So then we can say that, okay, well, we've zoomed out, and on Litecoin, since it's been around for a long time, there's no one set region where there's one specific support region or whatever. What we can do is that, well, it's a little bit vague. We can go to the volume profile, activate the volume profile, and see that there are specific price points of massive interest on Litecoin where the price will struggle to get above and beneath, and we can list them out. Namely, these two spikes, right? So we're listing them out, two spikes in the volume profile. We can adjust them in a second, right? Then we can delete the volume profile, and we can see that, well, look on Litecoin here. It's just all about the observations, right? Look on Litecoin in 2017. Okay, September 2017, we saw a wick to the upside, rejected, and that same level that we wicked to, we saw retests on from the upside as support, and we saw a rejection here. That is a very important level, right? And just extrapolating it, we can see retest there, retest here, retest here. That same rough region was retested for support and resistance on multiple occasions. That is clearly a very important zone. Where is that region? Well, what we can do is we can go ahead and say it's not necessarily one specific price region. We can get a rectangle and we can label it as a vague support and resistance region. So now that we're below it, right? So where actually is this region? That's probably a good thing to know. Between 95 USD and 105 USD. That is the critical region on Litecoin. How do I know that? As per the volume profile and as per the fact that it's clearly the most retested from the upside and the downside region on Litecoin. So if we get above that, that's going to be a support region and we can use that for trading. And if we come up to that and start rejecting from it, you can activate a short position based off that. And then you can trade to the nearest support zone. Right? So the first thing you want to do when you look at a chart, and the first thing I'm kind of getting into here, is first and foremost, straight away off the bat, you want to zoom out and you want to be able to identify and learn how to identify, and it's just based on experience really, but it's just observational skills. Where are the most important, don't overcomplicate it, the most important critical levels for Litecoin? What is the most important level I need to look at? And that right there, I would say is the most important level, right? Clear area of contention on Litecoin. And then those lines we drew strictly based off the volume profile, you know, we can zoom up and we can see, hey, they're actually pretty accurate. I didn't even look at where I drew them. I just drew them in, right? Strictly based on the volume profile. We can see that, that place we drew there was a rejection point. That place we drew was a support point. Yeah, you can adjust it slightly. It's probably not as precise as it could be. You can move it up to the candle closes. You can adjust it to the candle bodies. And just zooming back, this should realistically line up with some support resistance. And it does, right? We saw this act as support 43 over here. Vague resistance and support over through this entire price history in the consolidation period, right? Acted as support over here, acted as resistance over here, support, right? So the volume profile is another extremely useful thing, and that's the main indicator that I like to look at when I'm identifying support and resistance, right? If I can't use my observational skills, and there's no clear price point that I can draw using my observational skills, the volume profile is what you want to use. All right, so now that you've identified, I'm just going to briefly skip past a few things. Now that you've identified a couple of resistance and support zones that are probably of a significant interest, you want to say, okay, well, is there a market pattern that we're in? What's the market pattern? We've identified support and resistance. We know that. We know where the price is. We know what are the interesting levels to look at. Is there a market pattern we are in to trade based off? Because I'm a breakout trader. And if we were going to do that, well, let's just see here. What are we in right now? I mean, we had it before, didn't we? We zoomed up and we saw that there is clearly a downtrending resistance line here on Litecoin, right? And you can draw that in. Clearly a downtrending resistance. And just based off that alone, just based off that one line that you draw there, you can say, all right, well, that's clearly a consolidation pattern. If we break that to the upside, I'm going to enter a trade, right? And since we broke it to the upside, while we were below a resistance zone that we identified, which is 58 USD, we can say, if we break that line to the upside, I'm going to take a trade and I'm going to take profit on that trade at 58 USD because that is the next resistance zone. And the price generally moves between support and resistance. Very simple stuff. Trading actually isn't very complicated. People overcomplicate it. And the reason they overcomplicate it is because they try to trade within a range. Once you become a breakout trader, it's very simple. All you need to do is identify support and resistance, draw a market pattern. Obviously, if I was making this for my VIP group, I'd be looking at a lot more indicators, but this is just keeping it simple. Draw a market pattern, and then kind of say, well, if it breaks the market pattern, it's going to move to a nearest resistance. I'm going to take profits there. It's very simple stuff, and generally speaking, it works quite a bit. But yeah, obviously, there's a lot of things that go into it, like emotion. There's a lot of indicators you could use. Where's the RSI? What's the MACD doing? Is there going to be a move soon based on the Bollinger Bands? Ichimoku cloud. That's another thing you consider. It's like, well, not everything's just horizontal support and resistance. Some resistance comes from moving averages. Bitcoin's the best example of that. The 200-week SMA, I'm speaking very fast, the 200-week SMA on Bitcoin, that wasn't a horizontal support region. That was moving. It was literally an active one that was moving around, and you trade based off that. So yeah, there's lots that goes into it. It's one of those things. I think trading at a fundamental level is easy to learn, but hard to master. And I think that's kind of what I've proved here, because I think that if you're completely honest with yourself and you dedicate yourself fully to it, it's very simple to identify horizontal support resistance regions, and it's very simple to say, all right, well, that's a downtrending resistance line. But getting more advanced than that is where it gets difficult. And you kind of do need to get a little bit more advanced in order to be consistently profitable. So yeah, but that's how you go about, when you first look at a coin, that's what you go about. That's how you go about doing it, I suppose. Do you use any indicator? Yeah, so I kind of said that already. I use various indicators. Howdy Doody from Colorado. Thanks for sharing your info and the brain juice. Yeah, no worries. Your favorite altcoins? I don't have favorite altcoins. I did in the bull market. I think when you say favorite altcoins, do you mean fundamentally speaking? In which case I don't have any, because I don't care about altcoins right now. In fact, I haven't done fundamental analysis for like 6 months, because why would I? Because I'm not going to buy altcoins yet. I'll buy them in the bull market. So it doesn't bother me. It doesn't mean anything to me. But yeah, in the bull market I had a few favorite ones. I think RLC was one of my favorites. I don't even know how this is going. I'm assuming it's going terribly. I used to like RLC a lot. And the reason I liked it, well, there you go, this is the clear reason, is because it had such a clear uptrending line. All you needed to do on RLC, I'll just make this line pink so you guys can see it. All you needed to do, this is why I liked it so much. Fundamentally, it was fine. It was, I think, off the top of my head, it was like cloud computing or something, right? Where you rented out your, I can't remember, you rented out your processing power or something like that, right? Digital, decentralized cloud computing, something like that. It was interesting. I haven't looked at it in a long time. But yeah. The reason why I liked it so much is because, first of all, it's very volatile, and with volatility comes profit potential, especially when you have a macro support line. And we had a macro support line, and all you did on RLC, it was so easy. All you did was when it touched that line, you just bought, and then you just sold a little bit higher. You just bought, and you sold a little bit higher. You bought, you sold a little bit higher. Bought, sold, and eventually it failed, but you had like 6 good retests of that line. The amount of profit I made on RLC just from buying a line brainlessly, you can only do stuff like that in the bull market. You really can't do stuff like that in the bear market. You're just going to get punished so hard for it. Beautiful stuff, though. I loved it. And then we had a trade on RLC here back in the VIP Telegram group. What did we pull there? We pulled like 50% profit. Beautiful stuff. I love this coin. Very volatile. Even to this day, even after it's died out and lost most of its value, and I probably wouldn't touch it anymore, it's still moving volatile. You know, in like 4 days, we had like a 96% gain. I should really look at this coin more often. I do genuinely think it's a great coin for trading. And it's got that long history that you need, right? It's been around for a long time. It's clearly not a rug pull, clearly not a scam. The developers, although they're not succeeding very well in continuing to raise the price up, they're dedicated, and that's what you like about it. They care about the product, not the price. Anything, I will ask you then, if you are familiar with 2 Aussie music artists, one called Stryborg, the other is called, both excellent. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. If I was sure, I would be able to pronounce their names. Not exactly sure, yeah. Can you talk a bit more about Ethereum 2.0? I don't care. I don't care too much about fundamentals. It doesn't bother me. It's not going to make me money. Me talking about, and I know it sounds like a cop-out kind of way to answer your question, but me talking about Ethereum 2.0 isn't going to make me money on Ethereum. So, who cares? I'm a trader. Talk about fundamentals to me when we get towards the bottom, or get towards the halving and I start getting interested in altcoins again. I talked about fundamentals a lot back at the start of this YouTube channel because it was like 2021, and that we still needed fundamental analysis. Right now, all you need to know is that something's not a scam and you trade it. Fundamentals don't mean anything right now. I think the only fundamentals you need to know right now is Bitcoin fundamentals and how the market moves. That's it. You don't need to know about Ethereum 2.0. You don't need to know about random altcoin fundamentals. It doesn't mean anything right now. It's pointless. It's not going to make you money. Right now is not the time for long-term investing. The only time you'd learn fundamentals is when you're long-term investing. We're not in long-term investing right now. We're in a bear market, so it's not necessary. But that's probably an unpopular opinion. In fact, it's probably things like that make sure my channel doesn't grow. You know what I mean? When I say things like that, that's the kind of thing that makes sure I don't get hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I don't care about your altcoin. It's useless. Fundamentals don't matter. No. Of course my channel's not growing that fast when I say shit like that. Anyway, I'm keeping it real. What can I say? That's what I'm saying. Leading into the next week and the Fed meeting, do you suspect we'll head upwards towards support and range there at 19K before deciding a direction up or down? Head downwards towards support, do you mean? Yeah, so Federal Reserve meeting, I think it's the 28th of July. I could double check for you guys, but I think off the top of my head, 28th of July, we're going to be discussing it quite a bit as we get towards it. Another interest rates decision for the Federal Reserve. They're probably going to be raising rates by 75 or even 100 basis points. I see no reason why the rate hikes will slow down at this point. So it's coming up. And generally speaking, when you see those rate hikes come up, when they approach, and I assume it's going to start happening within the next few days, you start to see the S&P 500 correct massively because people get scared. They're like, oh no, another rate hike, and they start to sell. What happens generally? That happens like once a month. Once every month and a half, there's a rate hike, right? Something like that. And you generally see, the rate hike occurs, everything settles down for like 3 weeks, and as we approach the next rate hike, it starts to get a little bit tense again, and I think it's going to get intense a little bit now. And I think the CPI numbers kind of confirm that a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised we see bond yields start to go up again a bit. We see the DXY start to pump a bit more. I think it's all going to start happening within the next few days. And I think, we will probably go down a little bit on Bitcoin. But I'm not entirely convinced, or I'm not entirely sure, I should say, of when Bitcoin will lose that macro uptrending line. I don't know when it's going to happen. I'm waiting for it to happen. I don't feel the need to make predictions on when it's going to happen. I can say it's going to happen sometime within the next 2 months, most likely. Or there's going to be a decision sometimes within the next 2 months. And why is that? Well, 2 months from now, it's September. September's 1 month away from Q4. I think we're going to bottom in Q4, and I think we need time to go down, so it makes sense. It's as simple as that. You think we will get a bear channel like 2018? Like a bearish channel formation? What, like this? Like, are you talking about this region here? I don't know. I don't know what you mean exactly. 2018 was a long time ago. But yeah. I think what I can say is that I think we're closer to the bottom than we are to the top, that's for sure. So getting overly bearish right now is kind of a little bit stupid, right? Don't get overly bearish. Don't get overly bearish. Especially on support. It's not worth it. people have this opinion that I'm so bearish and I think it's going to go down. I'm perma bear. It's like, that's not actually the case. I'm generally speaking, I'm leaning bearish because we're in a bear market. That's what you do in a bear market. You lean bearish, but I'm waiting for confirmation. So I'm going to finally purchase the Crypto Academy course now that I have time. I remember you saying that we could send an email to see what the course is like. Yes, so if you send an email, in fact, perfect time to start looking at it. Hopefully it loads here. So here's the Crypto Academy website. If you send an email to this email address right here, cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com, we will send you back an email with the entire spiel, the entire explanation of the course. What is entailed in it, what you get from it, a 10-minute video explaining what it is and showing you what it actually looks like, so you know exactly what you're receiving. And yeah, we'll do that. Chuck us an email there. We'll get back to you promptly. And also, if you don't know what the course is, Become a Trader 10-unit course, you can find the link to the website in the description below. It's a course that takes you through how to trade. From Unit 1, fundamental concepts and investor strategies and tools, to Unit 10, advanced risk management and how to find a trade. Everything you need to know about how to become a trader, you can do this course. Takes 40 hours roughly. And once you've got that 40 hours down, once you've learnt the information in it, you can quite literally go out there and trade competently. And if you apply the information correctly, there's no reason whatsoever, mathematically speaking, why you won't be profitable. No reason. So go check that out if you're interested. You don't have to, obviously. If you're interested, go ahead. And there's obviously other ways to learn how to trade as well. Us making this course, it's not like, there's no other way you can learn how to trade. You have to buy our course. It's like, if you want it to be simple, straightforward, and if you trust myself and Mega Whale Crypto, and you think we're doing the right thing, we think we're experienced animals, and you want to trade like us and learn the way we learned and learn more efficiently than us and skip the mistakes we made, you take this course, right? Realistically, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, it's the best course ever. But realistically speaking, for the amount of money you're paying for this course, you're saving yourself so much time that it's way worth it. It's people send me links to YouTube videos, 90-minute videos teaching you how to trade from step 1 to step 1,000,000. It's like in a 90-minute YouTube video. Really? You're going to teach me how to trade in 90 minutes? Really? Come on. You're lying. It's not real. It takes hours, right? That's just reality. You got to do the work. If there's meant to be a recession, why is there now going to reach the bottom? There is a recession currently. It's happening right now. It's happening because the government printed too much money and supply chain shut down, COVID, everyone locked down their economies. Very simple stuff. Raised interest rates and it started to kick in, right? So essentially, inflation got too high, right? And people stop being able to afford stuff, and the way they combat inflation obviously makes perfect sense, right? Is you raise the wages and you spend more money on stimulus checks and keep spending more money and end up in a brainless cycle in which inflation never stops because you're spending more money to combat inflation that makes inflation worse. So we're in a recession, and right now they're raising interest rates to try to combat inflation, and it means that people have less disposable income, and with prices going higher and higher and higher, and they're worsening it already by raising wages even more. It's just an endless loop. So what happens is, government spends money, prices go up, government raises interest rates. Government raises interest rates, people have less money to spend, even though the prices are going up. And it's an endless cycle until you see a recession. And we're seeing a recession right now, and recessions basically act to bring it back to ground floor. But a lot of suffering and pain needs to happen before that occurs, unfortunately. And it's already occurring, right? What are your negatives about DCAing strategies? I did a whole video on DCAing, and long-term investing about a month ago, I suppose, maybe 2 months ago. Check that out. I went from every kind of level of analysis you can look at it, and I don't necessarily agree entirely with DCAing. I don't agree with DCAing. I mean, how am I meant to, right? How am I meant to? It doesn't fit well with the whole mindset of trading and the whole kind of premise of trade. It just doesn't fit well. When you're a trader, you critically analyze specific price points, specific entry prices, specific stop loss, specific stake profits, right? When you're DCAing, you can't do any of that. You're just, getting an average. It's not trading, right? So if you're an investor, yeah, you can DCA, but I'm not an investor. I'm a trader, so it doesn't work well with my mindset. It just doesn't work. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do. I'm just saying it's not something you should be doing if you want to become a trader. It's completely opposite of it's completely hypocritical to the premise of trading. That's my thoughts on it. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But, I think that everyone, if they're completely honest with themselves, right? could learn how to trade. I mean, we literally have a course here, Crypto Academy course. It's a 40-hour course. You have unlimited time. You can do it over the course of 2 years. You will eventually finish the course and you can learn how to trade. And you can make more money than you would DCAing. I think in a way, I'm not trying to be rude, DCAing is in a way a lazier option because it encourages you to not do any research and it encourages you to not learn how to trade. It's just like, well, I'll be okay if I just buy Bitcoin a bunch at random prices and hope for the best. It's like, that's not necessarily a good mindset because Bitcoin's not guaranteed to succeed. And when you're a trader, you buy Bitcoin at a certain price and you say, if it drops below that price, I'm selling and I'm not going to lose all my money on this. I'm going to lose a certain percentage that I've allocated. It's more kind of computed. It's more strategical. It's less guessing. It's less hoping. That's what I don't like about DCAing. Again, not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it's not the right question to ask me as a trader. I think I might head off shortly. Not yet. We'll go through a few more questions. Because my throat, speaking for an hour straight, is quite damaging to the throat. What do you think is going to happen with the Fed meeting? Yeah, they're going to raise interest rates again. The most realistic YouTuber in the space, I appreciate that. When are you going to go to the eye doctor to get those eyes checked out? Yeah, a lot of people notice. You probably noticed if you watch my channel for a while that I do rub my eyes a lot. I do have some eye issues. I have some pretty severe eye allergies. So when I rub my eyes, it's not necessarily because I'm so frustrated that I'm making this video. No, it's because I have allergies and my eyes get very, I don't know if itchy is the right word, but they get irritated. And yeah, I do have a bit of a problem there. So it's not me being disinterested or anything like that. It's just my allergies. Yeah. So, oh wow, we got a lot of altcoin recommendations. I showed you guys how to analyze charts there, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. I might look at a few in a second. I'll just go through some of the regular questions first. I will chart a few coins in a second. Don't worry, I'll choose a few. Jeremiah, sorry I missed your super chat, mate. Do you do much fundamental analysis? So yeah, I answered that question a second ago. Not right now, I don't. Because I don't see the point of long-term investing right now, and hence I don't see the point of doing fundamental analysis to a certain extent. Because in doing fundamental analysis, you're trying to figure out whether something is good for a long-term investment. As a trader, you're not interested in that. You're interested in what's going to happen in the next few days, which doesn't really... Fundamentals don't necessarily come into account in most cases like that. So not right now. But I do, generally speaking, in bull markets, yes, I do fundamental analysis, of course. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for $5. Appreciate it. Let's see what we've got here. Another super chat. The second $20 donation. I appreciate that, my friend. Other than Megawell, can you name drop other traders to watch/follow? Yeah, so this is where we get a little bit... So I don't necessarily... Right, look. I don't necessarily have a bunch of traders that I trust entirely. I do have a few, right? One person I can recommend is Roman Trading on Twitter. I think he's pretty good. I think he's pretty objective. I like him quite a bit. One person I'd also recommend Crypto Capo, right? He's pretty good, but generally speaking, there's a lot of bias involved because I'm just shouting out people who called the top, right? So I don't like to categorize people immediately based on trash and good because I understand people make good and bad decisions, and unless I'm following them for long periods of time, I can't necessarily understand whether they consistently make good or bad decisions. So what I do, this is how I go about my opinions. What I do. And I think this is a good kind of mindset to life in general, by the way. What I do is I form my own opinion, right? And whether it be from outside influences or not, of course I'm influenced by people. I form my own opinion. I understand that opinion to the best of my ability. I analyze that opinion. And then I immediately go to people that disagree with me, right? Because I want to get the best possible opposing argument. And once I've got that argument, I consider, okay, well, I've looked at, say, three people that disagree with me, and I take the best argument out of that, what I think is the best argument, and I compare it to my argument, and if my argument is better, I'll take my argument. Now, the reason why I kind of... It sounds like such a cop-out answer, but the reason why I don't like being like, oh, I'm a big fan of this dude, is because once you do that, it's biased. It becomes biased. And the whole point of trading, and the whole point of analysis is become, as less affected by bias as physically possible, as humanly possible. And so, yeah, I have people who I watch consistently, of course. Megawell's one of them, right? Roman Trading's another. I follow him quite a bit. Crypto Capo is another one. I take him quite seriously. I do have those people. But I don't want to be like, oh, I'm a massive fan. I'll listen to everything he says and he's completely correct. No. I want to have my own opinions and I want to compare it to people I disagree with. So it's more about people I disagree with that's interesting. Generally speaking, I disagree with people like Benjamin Cohen about the lengthening cycles theory, which was proven incorrect. So I was correct about that, which he's just stopped talking about, which is interesting. And then, obviously Moonboy Carl, all that stuff, those trash analysts. I disagree with a lot of people like then. What was that guy? Crypto Crew University or something. I disagree with him quite a bit about the pi cycle top theory, right? The pi cycle top indicator. Only made a video about 3 days ago, right? So there are people I disagree with. Here's another one. What's that guy who says, I'm George, we're all George? That guy, I can't remember. He does crypto quite I think it's Crypto R Us or something, I wouldn't necessarily call him a top tier analyst, but I do disagree with him about a lot of things. He's a believer that we're just going to enter a bull market again, randomly. It's just going to happen, right? And I've taken his opinions quite seriously. I've analyzed them. I've said they're incorrect. So it's not necessarily about people that I agree with. It's people that I disagree with that I find more interesting. Because I'm at a level of analysis, I'm at a level of knowledge in the field that I've chosen as a career that I don't need to affirm my views with people. I need to see whether people can convince me that my views are incorrect. I think that's way more important, right? Jeremiah, can we get a Discord going? Yeah, so Jeremiah, you're a VIP member, right? You're a VIP member. I can see your little badge there. We'll shout out the VIPs in a second. But we've got a Telegram group, a VIP Telegram group exclusively for VIPs. Join that up, dude. Join that up. Go to the VIP membership tab on YouTube, and you can join. You become a part of that group chat where we discuss anything you guys want to discuss, right? You guys send in a chart. I'm sure I'm not going to be in there 24/7, right? I've got commitments, of course, but I'll be there occasionally. I'll discuss a little bit of stuff as well. But if you guys want to discuss with the other VIP members, whatever you want, right? Send in a chart, ask what you think. We'll get some community discussion going there. So we've got it. We've got that. We've got the VIP Telegram group. Join up, dude. And that that goes for anyone. I'm going to bring up a tab right now. I'll show you. And I really do highly recommend this, right? I'm not just saying it because I need your money, dude. I'm literally charging 28 USD a month. I don't need your money. Right? It's literally $1 a day. It's so cheap, right? What's Crypto VIP? Go to my YouTube channel, click the join button. You'll gain access to an altcoin trading signal every second day. So 15 a month, right? Prioritize reply to comments. I'll prioritize responding to your comments in live streams and also in comment sections. A 2-hour video on market psychology. Lots of people have said to me that's the most important video I've ever made. It goes over kind of, mindsets. Should you trust the news? Should you trust social media? Should you trust all this stuff? Mindset, all that kind of stuff. Tips, strategies, whatever. 2 hours on that. Very, very important video there. You get access to that video. Access to my TradingView chart. So for example, I'll share links to my 4-year cycle chart, whatever, so you guys can look at it for yourselves occasionally. And then also exclusive Telegram group access, all for $1 a day. It's baffling that some people think that is an expensive price. $1 a day for an altcoin trading signal every second day, a 2-hour lecture on market psychology, access to my charts, prioritize reply to comments, and access to an exclusive Telegram group. It's a bargain. Sign up to that if you're interested. And if you just want to keep looking at the Bitcoin videos for free, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, if you want more from the channel, I do post that stuff. So check it out. Up to you guys though, for sure. 100%. I understand entirely if you don't want to pay for something. There's no reason for you to do that if you don't want to. It's just a little thing extra. I think it's worth it. But of course I'm going to say that, right? I'm biased. We didn't see a true capitulation yet. I'm just jumping up and down the comment section here. I'll get to a few questions in a second. Well, I think we did, right? I think we did see a capitulation. Yeah, I think we really saw a capitulation. That's a 26K to 17K in what, 2 days or 6 days, 34% drop. That's a capitulation. But I know what you mean. I do know what you mean, right? It's not uncommon for massive capitulations to happen, and there's no reason why it can't happen again. Especially with my YouTube polls that I've been doing. So if we go to my community section, this is going to be quite hard to find, but we had polls that we do weekly. So I do a weekly poll asking people whether I think the bottom is in. I think the first result that I had was 20%, then it was 22%, then it was 24%, now it's 27%. So even though the price is the same, more and more people are progressively going from bearish to bullish. More and more people are flipping bullish, and it kind of gives the market a little bit more room to flush people out. So the more people that flip bullish, the more likely it is we'll see another drop. Interesting. We'll see. I don't know. What else we got here? brought my first Bitcoin in 2014 and did nothing for a year. Why won't we hold around 20K for a year? Yeah, well, look, the reason why we won't hold around 20K for a year is because we literally can't. As per the TA, there is compression. We're going to have to make a move eventually. The longest we can hold in this region, like hypothetically speaking, the absolute longest we can hold is till the end of October. But eventually we have to make a move. We have to. It's just for TA says that. It's the law of TA. We have to move. So yeah, we can't hold in this region for a year purely because there is compression. But yeah, sideways for a long period of time. You know, maybe once we reach the bottom, we'll go sideways for like 6 months. It's possible. But as of right now, no, we need to move still. We're not done moving. We need to move still. But I know what you mean. Bitcoin can very much go sideways for a long period of time. It can. And it will. 1 second. Just going to get some more water. Might wrap it up in 15 minutes. So I'll answer a few more questions. If you've got any last questions, chuck them in. Why do you think Bitcoin has been holding all day? Why do you think Bitcoin has been holding with all the bad news every day, such as Celsius, Voyager, etc., even when alts are going on runs every other day? Because of a TA. It's found a very strong support region. It's wedged between a very strong support resistance. And most of the people who are moon boys have been flushed out already. And so it would make sense for a little bit of consolidation, maybe a little bit more upwards to the top, so we can get a few more people bullish and then flushed out of a downside. But I know what you mean. It's an interesting situation, right? You know, realistically, a lot of it is based on factors that we cannot control. And a lot of it is based on, you know, these events that happen. For example, Voyager going under, Celsius going under. In a way, and it sounds very conspiracy theory-like, in a way, it's all planned to a certain extent. And everything that's happening right now, even though it's hard for us to understand it, it's being planned behind the scenes. And so, you know, you can easily, if you're a whale, if you're an institution controlling the price, you can easily keep a price level stable for a certain period of time, even though there's bad news. You can do it, right? Anyway, I'm not going to get too deep into that because I don't actually know the answer to your question, really. I mean, I don't. I'm just looking at TA objectively. But I do think it's interesting. You know, I don't know the answer to your question. I don't know why it's holding in these price levels with all this bad news. But, you know, one of the reasons could be, well, why should Bitcoin be affected by altcoins? Bitcoin's not an altcoin. Bitcoin leads the altcoins. You know, that's an answer you could give. But I think the more logical answer to give is that, you know, the TA says we shouldn't drop yet. The TA says we're getting compressed quite tightly between major support resistance. Why should a minor event, affect that? I don't know, man. I've been talking for too long. Have you heard of the Great Reset and central bank digital currencies? Yes, I have, and I agree with it to a certain extent. I agree with the theory of it to a certain extent. I think that without getting too deep into worldviews here, I think that everything that people argue about on a daily basis, like which political party should be in power, it's all minuscule. It doesn't matter. The true power comes from the central banks. The true power comes from currency. And the thing about currency that's interesting is everyone in this world, this is very interesting to me, right? Everyone in the world is chasing dollars, right? Even myself, even someone who's into cryptocurrency, I'm still chasing dollars, right? I'm chasing something that is not valuable. It's like the only thing that gives people value, the only thing that gives anyone value is scarcity, right? If everyone has a Lamborghini, for example, it's not scarce anymore. It's not valuable. It's not unique. It's just normal. And so we're chasing someone. Everyone in society is collectively chasing something that the government can literally click their fingers and make out of thin air. You know, not as simple as that, but to a certain extent it's true. It's like, you know, the central banks, they're the ones who have the power. It's not the politicians. Politicians don't have power. They have, you know, an illusion of power. They have minuscule power to a certain extent. But generally speaking, you know, the power comes from the central banks. The power comes from people who control the money. And I think central bank digital currencies, people like to hate on it quite a bit, but I think it is, in a way, a good step in the right direction. Because, you know, at least you don't have as many of the problems as you had with fiat, with central bank digital currencies. But ultimately, it's all about control, of course. I mean, why would they lock you in your house for 2 years if it wasn't about control? A virus with a 99.9%, survival ratio, they lock you in your house for 2 years. You know, I'm not saying we shouldn't have done it. I'm not saying anything about the virus, but I'm just saying, if that's not about control, I don't know what is. Or if it's not at least partially about control, I don't know what is, I don't have many extreme views on the virus or anything like that, or mask wearing. I don't really care. Do what you want. I think at the time, maybe it was the right decision to lock down in that brief first period. But I think, if you're still telling someone to wear a mask in 2022 after everyone's triple vaccinated, at what point do you cut the line and say it's about control? Because I think for me that's the point. I am very concerned. I am very concerned about the West particularly. I think we're drifting dramatically towards socialism. And I think that's what the people in charge want. Because with socialism comes complete control in the government. Leading into next week in the Fed meeting, do you suspect we will head towards the range? I already answered that question, actually. Just sub to limitless. I appreciate that. Look up XRP. I can't look at XRP because we just released a trading signal for XRP in the VIP group. Brian, I can see you're in the VIP group, so go ahead and check it out. It was released about a day ago. So there's your XRP analysis, right? It's in the VIP group. Is there another trader you follow respect? I've already answered that question, I think. I think this pump was due to Japanese liquidations. How do you filter out fake outs when breakout trading? You filter out fake outs using various techniques that are very hard to describe. One of the techniques, I'll show you one of them. Very hard to describe in a short period of time, but I'll show you one of them. One of them is volume. Okay, so if you see, this chart is very old, by the way. This is a very old chart. But I can't actually show you an example without showing you a triangle. Let's just draw it up, right? So we have a triangle formation. The price over here, heading into the triangle, okay, breaks to the upside. How do you know if it's a fake out or a breakout? Well, first of all, candle closes. If you wait for candle closes on a specific time frame, the longer you wait and the longer it sustains above that price level, above the breakout point, the less likely it's going to be a fake out. And secondly, another thing that I'd like to use is volume. If you see increasing volume while you see a breakout to the upside or the downside, that is confirmation that the trend is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, which is typical of a breakout, and hence it's very unlikely to be a fake out. If you see decreasing volume, so if you break out to the upside, right, and you're seeing decreasing volume, it means less and less people are buying per candle. It means it's not a conventional breakout. Because when you see a breakout, the whole point of a breakout is that we're consolidating and then we break out and everyone buys quickly because we broke out, right? But if you see decreasing volume, it means that's not happening, and it means it's very likely that the price will fall back within the triangle because it's not ready to move to the upside yet, and the buyers aren't paying attention. Volume's one of them, and then candle closes is another. But there's multiple, and we teach that all in the Crypto Academy. We teach it way more in depth than that. And I don't want to get into it too much right now. BTC might just fall out of the bull flag, mate. Good breakout scalp incoming, waiting for confirmation now. If you're referring to Bitcoin right now, yes. So even structures like this, even bear flag formations like this, it's a great trading opportunity. Because why? Because we have support and we have resistance. Resistance would be at 17.5k. Support, resistance would be at 23.8k. Support would be at 17.5k. Wait for a breakout. You trade to either one of those levels. You can make a 10-15% profit quite easily. On paper. And the thing with trading that gets people quite frustrated, the reason why people don't make money trading, because it sounds so easy to say that, right? It's so easy to say that. But the reason why people don't make money trading is because it's not extremely common for things to go exactly to plan. It could take a month. It could take a few weeks. You could have a 10% correction before you see it. And in that period of time, your emotions are being chopped up in your head and you make irrational decisions. And even with trade, it's like, well, what happens if we break out? And then halfway through the breakout, we see an event occur. It's bad for Bitcoin. We drop back down. Well, that's why you need to be able to adapt. So yeah, you can make trading plans, and trading plans are extremely useful. In fact, it's what we do in the Telegram group and in the VIP group. But you need to have that certain level of confidence in yourself so you can adapt to situations, because that's what it's all about. If you can't adapt, you're going to get wrecked. But yeah. Can you please explain how to short trade? I'm thinking of signing up to a VIP to get trade signals, but I have no idea how to short trade and add leverage to it, etc. Yeah, so we can look at BitGet, and we can get into short trading now and how to use leverage. I'll do it very quickly. So those of you guys who know how to do this, just bear with me for a second. BitGet exchange, okay? Favorite exchange. I use it. It's my primary exchange. Binance is now my secondary exchange. Why? Because I don't necessarily trust Binance too much, but that's another story. They have a lot of scam wicks, a lot of liquidation wicks. I've lost a lot of money on Binance on places that I shouldn't have lost money. In fact, I'll tell you a story. During the drop back here in November, you guys would remember this drop. Well, some of you would at least. I'm assuming a lot of people who are here now were probably around at that point. During this massive wick, right? I bought Bitcoin on this wick. I don't know where, I can't remember exactly, at like 42k or something. And okay, so it's hard to explain, but when you're Australian, you have Australian dollars, you're transferring to USD, you buy Bitcoin, selling out of USD, transferring back into AUD. I bought Bitcoin at like 42K or something, 43K, I don't know. And I sold it because we came all the way back up, and I sold it at like 50K. So realistically, I should have had like a 25% gain. And even though I did that perfectly correctly and I've got the data to prove it, I still lost like 16% because of currency differences on Binance. So Binance screwed me over and lost me 5 figures essentially because of something that was completely out of my control that didn't happen on any other. It didn't happen on BitGet, I can tell you that much. So I lost faith in Binance at that point. So yeah, I should have made 5 figures and I lost 5 figures because of something that was an exchange's fault and I couldn't do anything about it. So how do you sue an exchange? You're not going to sue them. You just get wrecked. You can't. Especially when they don't even have like a structured headquarters that you can. They don't even have a location. It's ridiculous. I don't trust Binance at all. BitGet's better. There's no dodgy business like that. There's half the fees of Binance. There's non-KYC, so you don't have to link your identity to exchange. And they've got the perfect amount of futures pairs, not to overcomplicate things. And these pairs are chosen by traders for traders. They're all fundamentally tested via a system that I've looked into and I trust personally. Yeah, I like BitGet a lot. Sign up using my referral link in the description below. It's completely free. It will take 5 minutes of your time, and doing so will gain you access to a reward system in which you can gain over $4,000 in rewards by completing some tasks, some of which are complex, some of which are simple. Highly recommend, guys. If you support the channel, and if you're not a VIP, even if you're a VIP, whatever, and you support what I do here, the way you can give back to me is by signing up for free for 5 minutes using a referral link to BitGet, which is my favorite exchange. They didn't come to me and they didn't say, oh, please shill our exchange. I came to them and I said, all right, can we go in partnership? Because I really like your exchange. That should prove enough that I like this exchange genuinely. But yeah, you guys can check it out for yourself. How do you make a short position? All right, so this is on BitGet. You go to USDT futures. I like to use isolated, but you can sort that out for yourself. I need to log in to start that. 1 second. So essentially the fundamentals of it is, you get a certain amount of USDT, for example. Say you have 100 USD. I've got nothing in the account right now because I'm not signed in. And you can adjust your leverage. So essentially, for example, you got 200 USD. Let's just make it simple. You got 100 USD. You want to take a long position. I can't click it because I'm not signed in. Sorry. You want to take a long position. So you click on that button there, which I can't click because I'm not signed in. And if you said 2x long, essentially what it's doing is it's doubling your position size. So 2x long is now you've got 100 USD in liquid cash that you're putting into the trade, but it's giving you kind of like another 100 USD to play with. So 10x long would be you've got 100 USD and it's giving you 900 USD, right? Or it's giving you 1,000 USD or whatever, right? And essentially for compensation, so you're borrowing their money to trade with, but for compensation, if the price level drops below a certain point, you lose your initial investment entirely. That's how it works, right? It's quite hard to explain. But there's so many videos online explaining it. And I think what I said there will probably give you a pretty decent base understanding of it at least. So like for 10x leverage, for example, if the price moves up 1%, you gain 10% because it's 10x leverage. How much is the course? I'm going to send you, if you send me an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com, I'll send you all of the relevant payment information. The reason why we don't release the payment information to the public is because we get a lot of people who aren't necessarily interested in the course judging it for no reason based on something they have zero understanding of. But it's not expensive, I'll tell you that much. It's not expensive. And if you want to find out, you literally all you need to do is send an email and you'll find out for free. We're not, making you pay to find out the price. So send an email there, inquire, we'll send you all the information about it and the price, and you can make a decision. We don't want to just be like, oh, buy our course, buy our course, it's 2,000 USD, which is not, by the way, it's cheaper than that. But buy our course, it's 100 USD, for example, and then give no information about the course. People just see the price and then they go away from it. We want to give people an actual fair pitch. I think that's what it's all about. So yeah, chuck us an email there. Keep it up as a noob. I love the honesty. Keep it up as a noob. I love the honesty and not caring about fundamentals. I just learned what's important to focus on when investing and trading. Lol. Correct. For Wok, get this man on the good side of the YouTube algorithm. Appreciate that. We have not yet seen people losing their houses and cars being repossessed. Unemployment is still low. Wait for signals. Yes, that is correct. However, unemployment is kind of like, I know in Australia, for example, they've kind of changed the way that they measure unemployment. So be careful about that because it's not the same as what they did back in the day, at least in Australia. So unemployment numbers can be manipulated quite easily. But as for housing and all that stuff, yeah, I agree with you. What do you think? Okay, what do you think about the Bitcoin bottom? Yeah, well, I speak about that quite a bit. Q4, I think it's going to be in Q4. If I had to guess, and I'm not confident, but if I had to guess, 12 to 14K. Whew. I speak too fast, guys. I tell you that much. I can't control it. I just speak too fast, and it gets, like, my voice starts hurting. Because I have so much to say, and I just can't, like... I have so much to say, but I can't get it out in a appropriate manner, so I just end up, like... rapping into the microphone. A few more questions here. Is there any chance the price action would get above a 200-week SMA and come down again? There's a chance, but it's unlikely. That would be labeled as a fake out, and if that was to happen, we would be able to identify it as it happened. But it's unlikely. Who taught you TA? I taught myself TA. So this is an interesting question, because I don't actually exactly know how I did it. I just kind of did it. You know, it's like one of those things where you learn something over such a long period of time that it's not something you can just pinpoint down. But I suppose I learnt a lot through, I suppose YouTube. But generally speaking, it was personal experience. I didn't read any books or anything like that. But yeah, it took a long time. I'm still learning as well. You know, I'm still learning stuff. You can never know everything. It's not possible. But I'd say it took about 18 months. I'd say it took about 18 months for me to, when I was actually trying, right? It took about 18 months for me to actually get to a level of which I you know, be very, very confident. You're ignoring my questions, so it's not a good thing. Let me unsubscribe. Thank you. Take care. See you later. I'm not ignoring your questions. I'm just reading what's on the screen here. But if you want to unsubscribe, catch you later, dude. I don't need your support anyway. I've got enough. Been following the videos. Do you put any exercises in? Yeah, okay. So, been following your videos. Do you put any exercises in to scaffold the learning in your trading course? It's not just an info dump. That is a great question, because we do, my friend. We do. So, in the course, for example, and me and Megawatt, myself and Megawatt Crypto, right? We made this course. We're the two people who created it, the sole founders and creators and owners and operators, whatever you want to say. We did an intense market analysis of all of the trading courses we have out there. Every trading course we could find. We did an intense analysis of it. And we determined that, hey, how can we make this course unique? There's no other course out there that has worksheets. There's no other course out there that actually tests the information once it's learned. Right? You have courses out there that just chuck information at you, hours of content, they just chuck it at you and expect you to learn it. That's not how people learn. People learn by learning information verbally, through text and through visuals and doing it themselves, and then they learn the information by retaining the information through tests. So we have quizzes. Yeah, so we have exercises in there where you can, after you complete a unit, for example, you have your PowerPoint presentation with the videos and then also the writing and also the diagrams, etc. You have a quiz that you can complete that goes over all of the content, and it will give you a result and will tell you what you got wrong and tell you what you got right, etc. And it's just to kind of consolidate that information, because we don't want to just chuck information at people. We want people to actually learn. You're paying for quality. You're not paying for an info dump. You know, you could just as easily go on YouTube and get an info dump. It's not necessary to do that. So yeah, I really like you. I appreciate that. I'll just read through the rest of these questions here. Cole is the best trader of all time. Yeah, mate. Cohen stopped talking about lengthening cycles because he admitted it failed. Well, that's good. At least he admitted it. But yeah, it was just a point I was making. It was just I wasn't trying to pinpoint him. I genuinely don't think Benjamin Cohen's a bad analyst. I've got nothing against him. I do think he's overhyped. I think he talks about the same stuff quite a lot, and I think he gets a lot of attention for it. But for lengthening cycles, for example, it's good that he admitted it was wrong, because it was wrong. That's good. The fact that you transparently state you learn from all those you disagree with says a lot about you. Keep grinding. Thanks. Do you have any trades open at the moment? Not at the very moment right now. No, I don't. I like to... Sorry, 1 second. No, it's all good. Okay, do you have any trades open at the moment? Not right now, no. I wouldn't do a trade while I'm in a live stream, I'll tell you that much. But generally speaking, I wait for breakouts. And as a breakout trader right now, from the trades I've looked at, there's not actually anything that's kind of active. Litecoin was one of them, and I did trade Litecoin last night. So we looked at Litecoin at the start of the video. Litecoin was a coin that I posted into VIP. and I coincidentally ran upon it in this video, and I posted in VIP. I traded Litecoin last night, made like 6%. But as of right now, I closed the position because I don't want to be in a trade, overnight or anything like that. I just, I do it, but it's not something that I like doing. I'd rather make the profit and then just close it and understand that, hey, yeah, I could have made another 5%, but I made 5% and I'm out of it and nothing's going to happen now, So as of right now, no, I don't. But yeah, there are coins that have been activated, and I don't take every trade I see, by the way. That's another thing. You don't need to take every trade you see. I think it's very important to pick and choose the ones you want to take. Will the Fed meeting spur a downturn past our macro support line? It could. Are we likely to go back to 21.5k in the next 12 hours? I haven't done short-term analysis today. I can't tell you. I literally haven't even looked at the short-term charts today. Do you trade futures or not? Yeah, I do. I do trade futures. If it's a long position, I'll generally trade spot, but I do trade short positions as leverage because you can trade 1x shorts, but generally speaking, I trade short positions as leverage. Long positions, I sometimes do long positions, but again, when I trade leverage, I'm keeping it to a bare minimum, right? Because in the market, in crypto, it's volatile enough. You don't need to add volatility to the already volatile market. So generally speaking, I don't, but I do trade futures. So I do have to answer yes. But generally speaking, I like to trade either as low leverage as possible or spot positions. But it depends on the trade as well. If it's a very short-term position, yeah, you trade leverage because you want to make the most of the short-term position. But if it's you're trading for weeks on end, yeah, spot position is always going to be better. I saw a good TA that says September Bitcoin to 10K. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think there's a head and shoulders pattern playing out? Where on Bitcoin? What time frame? I suppose you're referring to this, right? So you think maybe this is a head and shoulders pattern? Is that what you're thinking about? I don't think that looks like a head and shoulders. I think that's more likely a bearish pennant. All these asides, like central bank digital currencies, will you cover central bank digital currencies on the Limitless channel? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that too much yet. I'm working on a topic right now that is unrelated to cryptocurrency. But yeah, I probably will. Do you guys inform VIP members when to enter the market and to go out? Just wondering. Thanks. So we don't give... So this is one thing that is probably worth covering. So, 1 second. I'll finish up here in a second. I'm getting very, very tired of my voice, but I'm trying to get through as many questions as possible. I like these live streams because it means I can just answer constant questions. Because typing is very it's very exhausting, right? When someone sends in a YouTube comment and I've got hundreds of them to reply to, it takes a long time to type. Speaking is a lot easier, obviously. But yeah, what did he say? He said, do you guys inform VIP members when to enter the market? So what we do with VIP, so this I'll show you with Litecoin, for example. So what we do is I would post a video in the VIP group chat. Oh, here's a completely different Litecoin chart that I haven't looked at. This is probably the one I used in the VIP, I assume. Yeah, it probably is. So what I do in the VIP is I'd say, for example, let's do the replay, cut it back here. And I'd say, all right, look at this structure on Litecoin, guys. Look, and I'd show you all the ways I came to that conclusion. I'd show you all the analysis that I've got. And I'd say, okay, based on this structure on Litecoin, I think that when this breaks out to the upside, you should enter, you should take profits here, and you should put your stop loss there. I don't sit here and say, I don't wait for it to break out, and then as soon as it breaks out, I'm like, enter now. Because I don't think that's smart. I think it's better for people to be prepared for what the plan is. And if the plan changes, right, I'll tell you the change in the plan. But I tell you before it breaks out, right? So yeah, it's not like something like right now, enter right now, get in right now, ASAP, please hurry up. No, it's like, all right, if it breaks out here, that's when you enter, and that's the plan, that's the setup, that's what I think is going to happen. And guess what? Generally speaking, it's a lot more profitable. I'm telling you right now, it is. But it is more work, right? Since you understand the politics, I think there's a reason why there wasn't a blow off top. It might be Russia provoked the problem there. Russia might have quite amount of ownership, I guess. Could be. Brother, I've been a regular follower and I'm not having a laptop at the moment. Is there a way to join your signals through mobile? So there should be. If your YouTube app on your phone is updated completely, you should see the join button. There are certain countries that are restricted to join. Very, very few. You might be from one of them though. So you might need to check with YouTube. I think it's like 3 countries that have restricted. I think I've had 2 people who said they can't join because of their country. So it's not very many. And I've got over 200 VIP members. So unfortunately, if you're part of that, those, I think it's 2 or 3 countries, I'm sorry about that. But you might not be. Just check. What is your favorite indicator? I don't necessarily have a favorite indicator. If I had to choose, I would say the volume profile, just due to the fact that it helps me identify horizontal support resistance zones. And I think horizontal support resistance zones are the most important thing you need to know as a trader other than market patterns. So yeah. What do you do in your free time when not looking at charts? Any favorite hobbies? I like driving quite a bit. With that said, I don't really like cars too much. I'm a big swimmer. I do swimming, lap swimming. I used to do competitive swimming quite a bit. But I suppose that's a hobby. In itself, I would consider crypto, see, here's the thing. I think wolves are, how can I put it? I think trading is my job, but I think wolves of crypto in a certain sense is my hobby. Because I don't see it as a job. I don't need the income I make from wolves crypto to sustain myself. So it's not necessarily a job. And it's not necessarily work. I mean, it is work, but it's kind of, I just do it because why not? I'd rather do it than not do it, But if you're talking about actual hobbies, I like swimming quite a bit. I go swimming quite often. I do like driving. Ideally, I'd like to have a nice car or something, but I don't know. Something about the whole nice car thing makes me a bit uncomfortable because I don't want to. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think the rule of cars is if you can buy a car 100, maybe 50 times over and still have money to buy the car again, you should buy the car. But if you're saving up to buy a car and you spend all your money on a car, I don't know, dude. You know what I mean? It's something you should do if you just literally have the spare money sitting around. Not if you're just saving up for months and months and months to buy it, But thanks, Wolf. See you next time at 2 a.m. in Jersey. Appreciate all the work. Yeah, no worries, man. Have a good night. Thanks for the donation there, Ryan. I have no idea what currency that is or how much that is, but I appreciate it. And I'm sure I'll find out after the video. Thanks. Cool to know you about learning. Amazing. Thank you. What is your opinion on Market Cipher? I think Market Cipher is kind of we talk about it in Crypto Academy a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. It's just a mix between the MACD and the RSI. And it's very convenient for people who don't understand TA too well because it shows you exactly where to buy, exactly where to sell. However, seeing as that it's a mix between the RSI and the MACD, it also falls short in many regions that the RSI and the MACD doesn't. So I would recommend you use the RSI and the MACD perfectly separately rather than Market Cipher. It's it takes the good parts of the RSI and the MACD and it makes them average and it puts it in one. It's it's overly simplified in my opinion. It's not bad. I think it's overly simplified. Thanks for answering my question. And you were the only one who exactly pointed out the top. I didn't listen to it. Haha. I'm not paying for courses, but still following you a lot. Keep working, bro. That's all good, dude. You don't need to pay for course. If you don't want to pay for the course, it's up to you. I'm not going to judge anyone for not. I completely understand. I'm selling a course online. It sounds dodgy. I understand. I get it, But, and if you don't need to, if you think you can learn by yourself, that's all good, It's for people who want it. And I personally do think if I had to start again, I personally would pay for the course, But I understand I'm from a position of bias doing that. But if you don't want to, cool, I recommend, however, chucking us an email, seeing what it's all about before you make a decision. But it's up to you. Congrats on 10k subs. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Has the Pi cycle already signaled a bottom? Yes, it has, actually. Thank you for answering my question. Much appreciated. We'll be joining VIP. I want to test it out. That's great to hear, man. All right, guys. I reckon I'll end it off there. It was a good stream. Got through a lot of questions, a lot of charts. Hope I answered your questions very well. And I'm excited to do these more often. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.